Hello and welcome back to the AAT'S podcast, episode number 22, with myself, Adi of Antibiotics.
And me, Aidan Riley.
Good afternoon, Aidan.
Good afternoon, Adi. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm good today. Very good.
I see him wearing a Miami shirt, and yet we're talking about a police officer in Detroit who goes to Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
And
I should have worn this on Miami Vice.
Yeah, we did the Miami Vice episode.
Yeah, that would have made sense.
I should have worn the Don Johnson shoes for that episode.
Should have, would have, could have.
Should have, would have, could have, yeah. So as we mentioned, today we are talking about, we're concluding with the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy. This is Beverly Hills Cop 3 we are talking about. And to be honest with you, when I saw it the first time, it wasn't half bad. But when I saw it years later, it was like, it could have been so much better.
It could have been better. I mean, I rewatched it not long ago, and it just didn't give me the same. I mean, it was worse than 2.
2 was still better.
Yeah, 2 was still better. But the thing about 2 is, I was less excited about it than I was with 1. With the first one, I found myself, sitting forward a few times with a smile on my face, going, "Oh yes, I remember. That's great. Yeah, I remember that." It's complete nostalgia. Nostalgia with all of them. The second one, I wasn't very much leaned forward.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had my arms crossed because when you do that, you're kind of like boredom setting in. But with this one, it was more, why, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, because to be honest with you, even
There were some things that didn't really make sense in it as well.
Exactly, yeah. So going into the plot story of Beverly Hills Cop 3, so what happens is Axel Foley's boss, Todd, Inspector Todd, has been killed on a bus, and Foley gets a good look of the killer's face, and then he finds out he has to go again back to Beverly Hills. And who else does he team up with? Billy Rosewood, again played by Judge Reinhold. And he's found out that they were onto something a lot bigger, which is they're using a theme park for a criminal front, for something worse that's going on behind the scenes of the criminal, basically of this theme park that's been going on. So what happens is, so Foley's found out, and he's ended up. One thing I was really disappointed with this movie, well, where were the rest of the characters?
Yeah.
Where was Taggart?
Yeah.
Where was Lieutenant or Captain Bogomil?
Mm-hmm.
Where was Jeffrey?
Jeffrey, I mean, I love Jeffrey. I think, Jeffrey.
This is not my sequel. You probably said that.
Jeffrey for me, I mean, Jeffrey's one of my favourite characters. I know he's a bit part player in it, but he brings that extra comedy to it, and
He
that's
does.
what,
I mean, Paul
Paul
Reiser, a great actor and everything, and the great thing about it was the fact that he was basically, like I say, Paul Reiser, great actor, great comedic comedy. I think he was busy with the TV series Mad About You at the time.
Yeah,
so,
that was a huge. Him and Helen Hunt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a huge show back in those times, and I mean, like the man that plays Serge,
Bronson Pinchot.
Yeah,
I was glad he was back.
Yeah, I was happy that he was back as well. Aquaman.
Aquaman. And then when you see him for the first time, he's like, you just sees him, and then he's like looking at him like he's his long lost best friend.
Yeah.
It's like you only met him once so many years ago.
Yeah.
And Foley's forgotten you. And it's that scene when he goes, "No, I don't believe this, Aquaman."
And he's Axel Foley's like this, looking at Billy Rosewood like,
Serge.
It's like,
Serge.
Yes, Serge. Yeah, it's Serge. It's like Serge. Yeah. I've been seeing you for so long. It's like,
Serge. And then, what was really funny was about the, so basically, like I say, he's Foley stumbled onto something, and he's found out that they're making counterfeit money using a theme park as an operations front. It's like, oh, everything looks fine here. but it's not. Something else is going down.
Something else is going off, yeah.
And like, so moving into the character details now, you have Axel Foley returning again as played by Eddie Murphy. You have this time around he's a bit more mature. I think there's a lot less. He's very less comedic in this one.
Yeah, well,
he's
10 years older than he was.
Yeah.
From the first one. In the first one, Eddie Murphy was only 23.
Yeah, he was actually. Yeah.
And in this one, he was 33. So big difference. So you can imagine Axel Foley to be less, flamboyant than he was before, and more serious, which he was.
He surprisingly was this time around. But what was also funny in the fact that he
did show that old style him 3 times though, didn't he? He did show that a few times.
What, the laugh? The laugh was still a bit...
No, the way he looked at Inspector Todd, where Todd was like, critiquing him on the operations, like the SWAT, when he's getting SWAT. It's like, I don't need SWAT. It's like, man, what do you mean you don't need SWAT?
I want to rate a church bingo game without SWAT.
And he's like, look, just trust me in this, okay? And he goes, okay. And
this is your operation. I'm going to be watching you from.
I'm going to be watching you from a distance. And he's like, just trust me on this one, okay? And he does that face like.
There's that big smile on him. So he's always like. He's always like this. Just trust me, boss, and I'll be alright. That big grin on his face.
And he does that, yeah. Okay. He's, the Inspector does like this.
He's going to do something stupid. And then what was really fun then, because if you look at it, Foley, he's a bit more of a leader this time around in the beginning when you see him, because he's kind of like, I think in a way he's kind of learnt from Bogomil, he's learnt from Todd, who are way more experienced police officers. And even the sad part was Bogomil wasn't even in this one, played by Ronnie Cox.
Like a few others were.
Yeah, Taggart wasn't in it either.
Yeah, which again, we'll get to that point, that part that didn't really make sense, because kind of, irritated both of us, didn't it, when I spoke about it earlier?
Definitely.
It's just like,
yeah.
But it was, again, it was less, there was less fire in this. There was less of everything in this than it was in the first and second one.
The second one was still a lot better.
Yeah, it was a lot better. But again, this is something this is a film that wasn't really needed for me.
I think they only did it just to finish off the trilogy, complete the series.
I mean, sometimes things don't need a trilogy. Just because you've got 2 films doesn't mean that you need a third one. And this one really didn't need a third one. You could tell by how, the lack of excitement that I got from watching this film.
It wasn't the best experiences ever, was it?
No,
and
it
also, moving on to, because like I say, Foley, he's not conning things as he was in the first one, and the second one.
He's just purely after
revenge.
He's after revenge. That's all he's after is revenge. Which again, his boss was killed. Who was like his father figure. So he's just all out revenge.
Yeah, it was that scene where fortunately Todd's he's about to be killed, and what's his name? Foley's seen him, and he runs inside there towards him, and he's like, he's the only one who witnesses the killer pulling the trigger, and he's like, he just shoots him. That was good acting by Eddie Murphy when Todd gets shot in the back twice, and he's like, no, like that, and then he looks at the killer very intensely. Like, I remembered your face. I'm gonna be seeing you again.
I'll be seeing you soon, and he does.
Yeah, and then the other thing was. The fact that when I love the last bit what Todd says to him when he goes, Axel, are you on a coffee break? Go get that SOB. And then he just dies right then, and he's like, hey boss, hey man, hey. He's like, and he's mad. He becomes mad. That's the first time we see Foley getting really mad. And he's like hugging him like that, saying, I'm sorry that you're not here anymore. And then when you see him at Todd's funeral, he's crying. He's crying because it's like, why?
He's lost. The old Foley isn't there. He's gone now.
Yeah.
And the new Foley is born.
Revenge driven.
Yeah, he's all about rage. He's rageful. He's just pure intent on killing this guy.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care. he doesn't care what he says to anyone. He just wants this guy. He goes out his way to, okay, he does this anyway. He always goes out his way to annoy people because they've told him to do something, and he does the complete opposite. He's always been like that, because in this one you've got the FBI agent in it that's tracking his everything.
The Secret Service one.
Yeah,
Now, I had a feeling about that guy. There was something off about him. Right from the beginning when I saw him, it was like, there is something off about this guy.
Yeah. And obviously he turned out to be someone that isn't really, you know, what you thought he was.
Yeah.
But okay, that was a good twist. But at the same time, you know, Foley probably knew that himself. Like, this guy doesn't seem right, because Foley's the type of guy that trusts his gut. Like when he runs into Ellis the Ball.
Yeah, the wall.
And he goes to get him. He's like, "You son."
Like swearing at him. And all that.
It's like, you know, he says all this stuff. It's like, and Rose was like this. So how can it be him? The man's done so much with charities. He's helped out a lot of children. This and this. And
Flint says that a lot as well.
And he's like this, and Foley's like, you know, okay, man. I know, I'm children. He's like, you man.
He goes,
I know it's him. I remember. I don't forget. And that's what you said earlier.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, you'll be seeing me again.
Yeah, and he did see him unexpectedly right there and then. And then, what another good thing I like about Rosewood? Rose was a bit more mature this time round. Well, he's not mature.
Well, I mean,
it's Rosewood. It's Rosewood.
Is it CPDOPO?
No, it goes DDOJOIOC.
Yeah, and DDGJOIOC. And he's like, what? He's like, okay, I'm a detective, Rosewood.
No, he goes, and then Foley goes, what, you promoted that office he had was nice.
Oh, that was amazing.
I love the scene when he arrives in Beverly Hills, and he sees, he goes, Actor Foley looking for Detective Billy Rosewood, and then he's like, he's pressing that thing in French, and he's like, Monsieur Table Rosewood in the house. Le Rosewood, Monsieur Table, Le Crayon, Le Tablet. He leaves the car there and just goes.
And he goes, and he just gets out and just, you know, does what Axel probably does, just leaves his car there. And he just
what was also funny was the other scene where he meets him for the first time, Foley, and then he's like, you know, I've seen this, and he goes, so what are you doing these days? And he's like, yeah, I'm DDOJOC. He's like, JGJOC, what is that?
What now?
So what it means, for those who have seen the movie and forgotten it, so what the DDOJOC, which is still quite a funny thing to say.
Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to say it.
Alright, I'll do my best to say it. And then, like, so the JG Jojo C. JG Jojo C. And, it was quite funny, that scene. See, I think it stands for Deputy Director of Joint Operations for this, that, and the other.
This, that, and the other.
This, that, and the other. And he's like, all right, fair enough. And then he shows him what he does. He goes, oh, I do this, I do that, and everything, and. Which is quite funny though. And the other funny thing was the scene where he's kind of become a bit like Bogomil, I would say.
He's grown up a lot.
He has grown up a lot, because obviously Taggart's no longer there. He's retired.
Well, speaking of Taggart, this is the thing that doesn't really make sense to me. This is the first thing that kind of irritated me about the film, when Foley walks in and he's like, hey, I haven't seen you guys for ages. So I just want to see you and Taggart. And it's like, where is Taggart anyway? It's like, oh, you get a back chance to see him. He's in
Phoenix, Arizona,
playing golf now. He's retired. You wouldn't have known that. I mean, come on. I mean, why didn't he tell him that? Did you suddenly lose touch? Okay, fair enough, if they lost touch, people do that, but I mean, come on. They were friends for a long time. I'm sure something would have been said.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because it's like there's only mention of Taggart. There's no mention of Bogomil. What's happened to him? Has he retired? Has he done anything? Has he has he moved to another department? Has he? What's happened? Also with Jeffrey, what happened to Jeffrey? I liked him because it would have been funny if we'd seen Jeffrey. What would he say this time? This is not my. This is not my. He probably.
This is not my planet.
I think I'm guessing this is what probably happened. They went to Paul Reiser and said to him, "We want you to come back and play Jeffrey again." And then he probably read the script and said, "This is not the movie I want to make." He probably just said that and goes, "Yeah,
this isn't the. It's like this is not one I want my name to be under."
And he wasn't wrong, was he? He definitely wasn't wrong. So moving on to another character, John Flint, who's played by well, he's a great actor. This guy, Hector. I can't. So pronouncing his surname's a bit of a challenge sometimes. And like, yeah, because like he was surprisingly a good actor, but the only thing I was quite disappointed the fact that where was he comes in a little bit later down the line, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Yeah.
And it's like when you see him for the first time, it's like where because like you see him, he kind of resembles Taggart a little bit. He looks a bit like Taggart, and then he's like, what's his name? Rosewood says to him, "This is John Flint. He's like the new partner of Rosewood," and like he doesn't seem to realise. All right, this is now Rosewood's, and so this is Rosewood's new partner. So where is he goes as well? Taggart used to talk about you all the time, and then he's like he's a bit more by the book. He's by the book.
Well, he does say that to Foley. He goes,
"I heard Taggart's stories."
Yeah, I heard Taggart's stories. Like, just remember, in Beverly Hills, we always go by the book. It's like, I've heard stories about you, Foley.
By Taggart, yeah.
Taggart. And then he walks off, and obviously you see...
Yeah, Hector Elizondo, that's his name.
Elizondo, okay, yeah. But he does say that to Foley, there's just like, I've heard a lot of stories about you. And yeah, as you do remember, you do things by the book here. I've heard a lot of stories from Taggart. And then...
Hey, which one of those lines is behind Wonderwall?
Yeah, that's what he says.
He says that, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, but when he gets into a bit of bother at Wonderworld and the little flashy thing comes on Rosewood's screen, it's like, well, that's Wonderworld. Foley!
And he jumps out of his chair, and Flint's in the car having his sandwich. He goes, we got this happening at Wonderworld. Axel!
He's like, Axel! It's like everybody knows that. But...
And later on in the movie, you see him again, and he's like, there's this happening at Wonderworld, this happening at Wonderworld, this happening. He's like, why am I not surprised? Puts the siren on, and then he just goes. He just goes like that. And the one funny thing I like, he had some great scenes in that, Flint, when he's like, that scene where Foley goes to him, "Do you have a $50 bill?" And he goes,
I have a wife and 2 kids. I haven't seen a $50. I've never seen a $50 bill in years.
And then he goes, and then that was a good scene. The other scene was where he's at the amusement park, and there's a guy shooting at him from up top, and he picks up the other gun and starts shooting him, and then that song's playing, and he's like looking around going, "Turn that effing song off!" And then at the end, when he gets shot in the arm and he sits down next to Foley, Foley's bleeding. He's like, Foley's been shot in the arm and the leg, and he's bleeding after a fist fight. And he goes, "Any chance you can explain this to me?" When Foley sits there like, "You okay?" He's like, "Any chance you can explain this to me? Like, why the F am I shot?" And then Rosewood walks in bleeding. He goes, "You okay?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then he goes, "I wonder what time the park opens." And then Rosewood passes out, and he's like, "He needs medical attention." That was funny how he said that line. "He needs medical attention." And he's like, "Hey, does this hurt?" He's trying to poke the gunshot. He goes, "Don't touch it, don't touch it." Which was quite funny. But then he kind of came to the realization towards the end that what Foley was telling him was the truth. Because in the way because he's good friends with that DeWard guy, the main bad guy. And yeah, so going on to the main bad guy, I don't think he was the best bad guy out of all of them.
No,
I think definitely the best bad guy out of all of Beverly Hills Cop has to be from part 2, which was Maxwell Dent.
No, he
without
does.
a doubt.
He had the best crew as well.
Yeah, he did. The most intelligent crew.
Yeah, he did.
And this guy, he's very manipulative. He's a snake. But the biggest snake was the guy Sanderson, played by John Saxon, who, if you don't remember him, he played Roper in Enter the Dragon.
Oh,
yes, got a reaction.
Roper. Yes.
In real life, he had a black belt in karate.
When I saw him in that film, he was.
Not surprised.
I'm not surprised because he moved like he did.
He definitely did. It was yeah, because obviously Enter the Dragon is one of the greatest martial arts movies ever made. I would call it the greatest martial arts movie ever made. And we have to review it because it is Bruce Lee.
Yeah, you can't not.
And we have to review a few more Van Damme, Seagal, and Jackie Chan movies. We have to review those.
Oh yeah, we've definitely got to do a Jackie Chan movie. One of my favourite Jackie Chan films is Rumble in the Bronx.
Okay, that's a good one. We have to watch a few of his earlier ones, which was even better. And we definitely got to do the Rush Hour movies.
Oh yeah, Chris Tucker.
Put your bag in the back. Did you know Eddie Murphy was kind of considered to play Chris Tucker's role in Rush Hour?
Oh,
I would have loved it. Him and Jackie Chan in one movie would have been sick.
That would have been alright, actually.
Also, Martin Lawrence was actually considered as well.
That would have been okay as well.
I think, yeah, it was, but I think Eddie Murphy would have done a much better job. He would have done a much better job, yeah. I mean, not knocking Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence is hilarious. From Bad Boys to his own TV series, Martin and everything.
Big Mama's House.
Oh yeah, that was right. Praise the Lord, it's my baby Sherry. That was funny. And when you see Sherry for the first time in disguise, like, damn, you fine. I mean, sorry, come here, give me a hug. that was a good scene.
I used to love that film.
Yeah, and so going on to DeWalt, again, he's he's a very slick guy. He's a very slick bad guy.
Yes.
And like when he goes, do you want to tell me what's going on in here? And he's like, yeah, this guy killed the police officer last week in Detroit. He goes, I was here last weekend. And he's, oh yeah, like he said in that scene when Foley identifies DeWalt, and he's like, he's a guy who works in the community. He knows how to manipulate people. He goes, I do work in the community.
When he's in that awards ceremony.
That was a great scene.
He stands up with all his kids. He's like, he's gone on board. All the kids here he's helped out, and the kids stand up, and then he stands up right in front of them, blocking the view of the kid. And he's like, yeah, thank you. You think obviously it's all about him. Yeah. And obviously after that, he's hilarious. Where Rosewood is next to him, next to Foley, and Foley starts clapping, and Rose was like, "Don't do it, Axel. Don't do it, Axel. No." Axel. And he has to run off.
And hides behind the plant.
He's like that,
which is even funny.
He's like, Axel, please don't, Axel. No, Axel, don't. He's like, bravo.
Y'all keep it going,
Listen to wow, everybody. And then he goes up to the ball and he's like, yes, he goes, told you see me again.
Yeah, he's basically saying that to him, isn't he? And what was even funny was that scene when, continuing on with that scene, where, it's that other scene where he goes to Flynn, when Flynn apologises to him, going, sorry about what he's saying, and he goes, keep him and his delusions out of my face and out of my park. And he's already spotted him from the beginning when Foley's walking through the grounds, and he goes, oh, that was the police officer from last week. He's kind of saying that. He goes, we've got to stop him before this happens, when those guys are shooting at Foley. And he's shooting back. He goes, "There's no gunman."
Yeah, that was in the security room, isn't it? When because before all that happened, Foley obviously gets into Wonderworld.
Yeah.
Before he thought he had an appointment, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because before that, Rosewood's Flynn.
Yeah.
Partner. He goes, I need to speak to somebody about this. Do you know anybody? He goes, yeah, I know someone. He's head of security at Wonderworld. Is that Wonderworld? Is it? Yeah, Wonderworld. So he tells him where it is. Then he goes there, doesn't he? And then he gets into a bit bother with those two security guards.
Yeah.
He's like, you got a problem with this, sir? He's like, yeah, $35. $35 to get in here? He's just...
I don't want to go on no rides, no parks, no nothing of that. I
just got an appointment. My name is Axel Foley. So, if your name isn't on the list, we can't let you in. So here's my $35. And obviously, that thing with the ride happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The ride goes all a bit.
Because they cause it themselves, don't they?
Yeah, which is weird. Again, that's another thing that annoyed me, man. That really irritated me about this film as well. A lot of things irritated me about this film. But when Axel gets on the ride, and he does it to get away from those he does it to get away from those security guards.
Yeah. Did you know who that, before we go any further, do you know who that man was who he cut into before he jumps on there?
No.
You won't believe
Oh no, George Lucas.
Yeah, George Lucas, yeah.
Yes,
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. The guy who created Star Wars jumped on and it was like, huh?
I was just, you know, when I saw George there, I was like this. I was like,
George Lucas?
Is that George? That's George. That is George Lucas. I was like, oh, what? What's he doing? I was just like, yes, George Lucas. I never noticed that before. But oh man, it was just so good. It was great to see him. But what happens after that is where the two security guards starts messing with the controls of the ride, and then he goes, bring that man down. It's like, I can't bring him down. Yes, you can. And he starts
manipulate the whole thing.
Yeah, and he destroys it. You're like, why would you do that?
Yeah, exactly.
But again, I think the script was pretty bad in this.
It was very bad. It was very bad. I can't wait till we talk about the behind the scenes stuff on there. And yeah, so DeWalt, obviously he knows how to manipulate people. Even that scene where they're saying, oh, we've been caught red-handed, they're using the machines to print all that money, and because remember they hijacked the mint paper to make money, don't they?
Yes.
And he gets all that paper and he kills all the people who arranged it in the first place.
Yeah, that's at the beginning.
Yeah. And then the other scene was when they're where they're going into at the end he's like, make sure Foley doesn't get on the plane. He blames him for the attempted murder as well. He knows how to play because remember he mentions he was a real police officer at one point himself, so he knows how to beat the system.
Yes, he
quite
does.
Clever move there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and he also works in security.
Again,
So again, he's got the upper hand.
and he works for the governor's office.
So he's shooting.
He's well collected. Yeah. He's well connected, I would say.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is. So you know, this bad guy, this antagonist, I think is the. This guy is the most connected person out of all of them. He's the most slick out of all of them. Because
I think they all were, but this one showed more of that.
Yes, he did.
That qualification he had.
Yeah, he did. But you know, as we said earlier, I think with this film is it was just very dry.
I think it was too fast paced.
Yeah,
I think it was very too fast paced compared to the first two. Where the first two had proper story going through it. This one, like you say, in a way, they just did it to complete the trilogy.
No, they just did. Yeah, exactly. That's what I sensed anyway. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
They only did this because they wanted to make a bit more money from it, and let's make a trilogy, see how it goes. And fair enough, I respect that. But you know, at least do it well enough. You know, it's just the script just seemed very lazy to me.
It was extremely lazy. Okay, so moving on to another one, Sanderson, played by the late great John Saxon. Sanderson's basically the proper ringleader of that circus, and he is. He's the one who's basically telling everybody to, everybody like, we're going to do this, we're going to use that, and he's got people on the outside helping him out, like Secret Service and everything like that, to get rid of Foley. Remember to get rid of him, remember saying make sure he gets out of here, he never comes back in here ever again.
Yeah.
And Flint's just simple-minded. Flint just feels like, oh, I just want to work there for my retirement plan.
Yeah, that's all he wants. I mean, in this, Foley's still like pretty young, early 30s, so he's not going to think about his retirement, right? But Flint, he's just thinking about retirement. That's all he's thinking of.
Yeah.
He's thinking of because Foley hasn't got a family.
No, he doesn't. The only family he's kind of had is Rosewood, Taggart, Bogomil, and Todd.
Inspector Todd, yeah.
And Todd's gone now.
We never get a mention of Foley's family members at all in this film. So obviously, we get to hear about Taggart's, his wife. We don't hear about Rosewood's. I mean, again, we hear about Bogomil's daughter.
Yeah, because in part 2, you don't see any of Rosewood. Rosewood's kind of got that girl he likes, that waitress at the bar, they're going to have a drink.
Yeah, that's it.
She was beautiful.
She was, but
She was
what
beautiful.
comes of it, we don't know. So the only people that have families in this really are Taggart, Bogomil. That's it. And Inspector Todd had a wife. But the thing is,
what she said to Foley at the end when she goes, that was funny because she knows him too well, and she goes, you were with him when he died, and he goes, yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned you. I said, that doesn't seem like my Todd. That doesn't sound like my Todd. Be honest with me, Foley. What did he actually say? And he's like, okay. He said,
Axel, you're on a coffee break. Go get that SOB.
And then she goes, that sounded like my Todd.
He goes, yeah. Then he goes, that sounds like a great idea as well.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it could have been a lot better. It should have been a lot better. I'll be honest with you. This part, it had a lot more potential to be better, but I feel like they just weren't bothered.
Well, here's the trivia for you.
Okay.
Right. On the Late Show with David Letterman in 2011, David read a list of some movies from Eddie's filmography. When this movie was mentioned, Beverly Hills Cop 3,
Yeah.
the audience clapped and cheered. Eddie said, no, it wasn't a very good Beverly Hills Cop. So he denied the applause. He's like, no, don't applaud that.
Wow.
It wasn't a good film. And you're like, that for an actor to deny a space for a film title in that applause, I mean, that's some serious stuff, right?
Exactly, yeah.
He's not proud of that at all.
No.
So you just like, it's like when you mention a musician's album and they go,
I don't like it. I regret it.
don't want to hear it. You're like, yeah, okay. He's the creator of that album, so, and he doesn't like it. That means that no, it's probably not very good. And Eddie Murphy was right. For me, as I said, this film was something happened in it, and you think, so much potential, man, and to just waste it like that. I mean, I've seen a lot of trilogies, and I think that is what happened. What happened with the writers? What happened with the staff?
Yeah, exactly. Because maybe in a way they just had to speed it up because they're on maybe they were told at a very short period of time, okay, we're going to do part 3 of this movie, part 4 of this movie, we just have to get back wherever we can get back, and that's it, job done, and we're let loose.
Yeah.
Going on to one last character, this character kind of in a way saved the movie, and that was definitely Serge, played by Bronson Turchi. It's like when you saw him for the first time. When I remember watching this for the first time, I just looked at him. Oh, thank God, Serge is back.
Surge!
You're like, oh, Serge, and he's like, well, Foley, you crazy thing. What you do here? And he's like, Serge.
It's like
Serge.
Sounds like a detergent. When he says that.
Try to say Serge. It's not too difficult. Serge sounds like a detergent. And he says the same thing. Get the F out of here. No, I cannot get the F out of here.
It's just, yeah, it goes back to the first one, doesn't it? When
exactly.
It's like a bit of nostalgia there, because obviously with the first one was 10 years before.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like, no, I cannot get the F out of here. And you just think, oh, that was so good, man, when he brought him back.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And then that was it after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. That was the only one that actually, yeah, that was the only thing. The Serge was so funny, and I got a very funny story to tell about this as well when you go into it. Because the Serge has kind of evolved since part 1. He's become a weapons manufacturer. He's weapons protection, everything like that. And that story he says about the ex-Navy SEAL is quite funny. When he goes, "What is this? This looks like a keychain. This is it's designed. It's called a stunner." He goes, "It's designed by an ex-Navy SEAL, very serious. Never seen him smile. Also, never seen him in a pair of pants that fit." And Rosewood and Foley looking at each other like. He goes, "You press this button and this pops out, and then this happens."
The biggest light you have ever seen pops out. You're like, the biggest light. Oh.
And then he goes, and Rose was like, "Oh, that's cool, Billy. I want to give you one as a present."
Because I worry about you so much, you can have one too.
I want you to be safe. Oh, thanks. And it worked. That comes in handy for him, don't it? At the end. It really does, don't it? Don't
It's
it?
him about the gun. The gun doesn't come
Oh,
out.
and then he goes, now I'm going to show you totally something that'll blow your rocks off. And then he's like, oh, there's this woman here. She's my personal trainer. Did you know how tall that woman was in real life?
That was 6 foot.
6'2".
Whoa!
She made Bridget Nielsen look a bit smaller.
Wow!
And she was actually in one of Van Damme's early movies, Double Impact. She goes, when she was what was her name? She was basically I think, yeah, she's sadly passed away, and she was a very tall, beautiful brunette of a woman, and she said when she first moved into Hollywood, she had so much difficulty finding work, and you won't believe why she had difficulty finding work, because she was so taller than most guys she was teamed up with.
Back then, there was a lot of sexism against women. How they used to be should be smaller than guys,
Yeah.
and more petite and become vulnerable. You know, which is the biggest part of BS, isn't it? Really? But obviously things have changed now. In a good way, of course. Everybody gets the same opportunities. But yeah, she was a beautiful woman.
She was a beautiful woman. She looked quite strong anyway. When Serge goes, that's Dodie, my personal trainer. She can bench press 200 pounds. And
Foley and Rose were like that. Okay.
for Foley's eyes when he pop out of his head, and he was like, she can bench press 200 pounds. and she's working on reducing my body fat because it's difficult as I keep sneaking away, have a good cheese. I don't care, I look good in suits. And he's like that.
She doesn't know anyway.
Yeah, Julie Strand, that was her name. Yeah.
Julie Strand.
Strange. So yeah, she died at the age of 58.
Is that it?
She was like one of the tallest women ever, and like I said, she was at least 6'2". She was a beautiful lady. A 6'2" and everything, yeah. And okay, so moving on to Serge. Serge proves to be such a useful sidekick towards the end of the film, where Foley needs a weapon and he runs back in there. One of my favourite scenes what Serge says when he goes, Aqua, when he's got the apron on top of his suit. He's still wearing the blazer, he's wearing the apron on top of that. What most people do is remove the blazer and put that on instead. And he's like, Aqua, again, Serge, I need a weapon. I have no weapon, I take it all back. And he's like, what about this? And this is a floor model. People have been breathing on it, coughing on it, touching it. Serge, I need a weapon now. He's like, take the annihilator and swap it off with a swab of cologne or something, and take a case to make sure it's nice and pretty, okay? And he goes, oh, it's Corinthian leather. And he's like, all right, thanks. I love the way he dropped that line. It's Corinthian leather. He's like that. That was one of my favourite bits there. And yeah, so going on to the behind the scenes talk. Now, do you want to start off with behind the scenes or shall I do it?
The floor is yours.
Alright.
This is your segment.
Okay, did you know production was temporarily shut to allow the Paramount Studios top brass to get a chance to get the grip with the film's spiraling budget? Now, originally estimated at $55 million, it was in soon case excess of $70 million. Of that, $15 million was Eddie Murphy's paycheck. 15 million, 1-5, was his paycheck for this movie.
55 million.
55 million was the overall budget.
Yeah.
But they had to kick it up to 70 million. But the extra 15 was Eddie Murphy's paycheck.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and another one was, when they were interviewing Bronson Perchett regarding his character of Serge, they were saying to him, how would you describe Serge? He goes, what happened was on set the day that they were filming that scene where we see Serge for the very first time after so many years. What happened was when he was filming it, they were saying, all right, just be yourself, play Serge how you can play it. John Landis, the director. He goes, when he was doing the acting scene, when they were talking about the whole stick a tube up your behind and the whole up comes a candy bar from when you were 5. He goes, everybody behind the scenes was holding their laughter so bad that when they said cut, the entire crew and cast burst out laughing. They couldn't do it while the cameras were rolling.
Eddie Murphy laughing as well?
They were all laughing. But the thing is, yeah, I think like in the first part when all the takes were ruined because of Eddie Murphy's humour, like the scene where he's talking about the super cop story, and in real life Judge Reinhold had to go and pinch his thigh so bad to prevent him from laughing. Again, because in case it would ruin the shot. They did the same thing here as well. And also, one more thing regarding Bronson Purchett. He said that he claimed in 2009, in an interview, he goes, Eddie Murphy was really depressed at the time when this film was being filmed. Because he said that claiming Eddie Murphy was low-spirited, had low energy, he was depressed because most of his recent vehicles had been underperformed or bombed at the box office. You want to go?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, so this one shocked me. Eddie Murphy said he thought Beverly Hills Cop 3 was indefinitely better.
Indefinitely. That means it wasn't. Or was it?
Infinitely better.
I think he's wrong. Sorry.
Well, no, yeah, that's what it says. It's like, he said he thought Beverly Hills Cop 3 was infinitely better than Beverly Hills Cop 2. He then later claimed during an interview in 2006 on Inside the Actors Studio that he felt the third film was atrocious and such a disgrace that the character was kind of banished for a while from Hollywood.
Yeah.
He said he felt the third film did not reveal enough of the edginess of Axel that was present in the first two films.
Right.
It's true, that's what I said earlier. He also said he hopes to return the edgy qualities to the character when he reprises the role next time. And he's going to pay more attention to the development of the project and its quality next time. Yeah, I really hope there isn't the next time.
You know, part 4.
Yeah.
Maybe they should do a part 4 and bring back everybody else and make it... Part 4 should be the real part 3.
Well, that'll be a chance because quite a few of them are dead now.
Only Todd's passed away in the movie. And in real life, he's passed away. Gil Hill, who played him.
Yeah, but obviously you can't come back then, can you?
No, he can't.
Unless you turn it into a science fiction or...
Rosewood.
You read some potion or something to bring it back.
Something like that, yeah. And so, did you know? You remember how I mentioned there was going to be a part of Beverly Hills Cop 2 that were going to go to London? That was
This was this one.
This was this one where they say Foley, Rosewood, and Taggart were going to go to London and rescue
Budget
Captain
problems,
Burnham.
not a chance.
Yes, but that was the reason why, because of numerous problems, scripting issues on the budget caused pre-production to drag out to the point that John Ashton and Ronnie Cox, who played Taggart and Bougainville, had to drop out, and they were
working on the project.
Yeah, they were working on the project because they couldn't wait anymore. They couldn't wait.
Which is a shame because I think that that idea was better.
Yeah.
A lot better because it's fresher and it gives you know, other settings.
Yeah.
To see Axel Foley in London would have been epic. To see him team up with Connery,
to
see him team up with Connery
would have
been absolutely phenomenal. That would have been better than number 2. That would have been a lot better, and it would have been the same on par with the first one.
Yeah.
But it would have been serious as well. It would have been because Connery is good at playing serious characters.
Oh, hell yeah, it was.
John Cleese is an amazing comedy actor, and then you've got Eddie Murphy, who
can do both.
Who can do both. So you've got a mixture of 3 excellent actors, man.
Yeah.
That would have been epic. But it's just a shame about the budget, and then obviously Judge Reinhold and the man that played Taggart,
John Ashton.
Had to, you know, leave because of the fact that they couldn't wait any longer. There was too many problems with the scripts, too many problems with production, too many problems with the budget. You can't wait around. You have to earn money, you have to make a living.
Yeah.
You can't wait around for people to finish the script. And look what happened. They rushed. This seems rushed to me. This
whole movie was completely rushed. Here's another one that's probably going to shock you the most. And one idea came from Brandon Tartikoff, who was a producer. Who suggested a crossover film with Paul Hogan playing Crocodile Dundee, but it was rejected by Eddie Murphy. I think that would have been funny. Eddie Murphy,
wow!
Axel Foley and Crocodile Dundee.
That would have
been funny. I could just imagine
Like, you come from the land down under.
Then he'd be like, I can imagine Paul Hogan doing the same thing. That's not a knife. That's a knife. And then Foley's like, hey man, shut up, all right? Just shut up. He'd be like,
no, but that's a knife. That's a knife. Anyway, if Axe Foley's like that, damn.
That would have been a great team up. That would have been.
I think that would have been better than this idea as well.
Exactly, anything would have been.
What happened? They got rejected by Eddie.
Yeah, by Eddie Murphy. Because I think he just wanted the obviously wanted to be about a Foley in it.
Yeah, well that's what it's all about. But you know, I don't think he would have minded teaming up with Connery or Cleese.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
those two would have gave his name a run for his money.
Definitely, would have.
Because when you've got Eddie Murphy on the screen, no one, the attention isn't going to be purely on Eddie Murphy. You're going to see Sean Connery, like, wow, Connery,
James
wow,
Bond.
it's like John Cleese, and then you're like,
of course,
absolutely.
I think American audiences would have still given. I think they would have given more attention to Connery than Murphy. And same
James
thing.
Bond.
Yeah, he was the original James Bond.
Yes. I mean, come on.
It's like, did you know back in the 90s there was a movie?
And he also starred in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Dad. Is that Dad? Junior. We have to review Indiana Jones. I think out of all them, Part 3 was definitely one of the best.
We've also got to review Blade Runner as well.
I need to get down and watch it in Blade.
Harrison Ford, one of his ultimate greatest films.
Okay, what about the sequel? No? I'll scrap it.
Brilliant film, but extremely long.
Okay.
And it feels that way sometimes.
Okay, that's fine.
The first one doesn't feel.
I think it's one of the best movies ever made.
It's brilliant. I mean,
for its time.
God, the effects is just incredible. I mean, for that time of 1982.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. The effects.
It was cutting edge at the time, wasn't it?
But if you put that in, if you make people watch that now, they'll look at it and go, they won't be able to tell the difference.
They wouldn't.
They'll be like, wait a minute, that was made of 38?
Yeah.
Seriously?
It's like the movie Predator. You watch it for the very first time during its time in '87. You'd be like, for example, what's really amazing, for the very first time you watch that movie, you keep asking yourself this question in your head, what is this thing that's hunting them?
Yes.
You definitely ask that question, that's one thing. And did you know this is the only Beverly Hills Cop movie where neither open in first place at the box office, nor did it reach over $100 million at the box office. That's one. This is another one where Foley and the two detectives don't visit a strip bar. Also, this is not the first one not produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, and have all the credits at the end, including the title, and no jazz score at the start. And this was actually released in the 90s, where the first two were released in the 80s. That's one. Another thing is the only Beverly Hills Cop movie not to feature a song by that group called the Pointer Sisters. In Beverly Hills Cop 1, they had the song Neutron Dance, the scene where Axel's holding onto the back of the cigarette truck and he's flying all over the place. That was the Pointer Sisters. And part 2 is where the song Be There, where Foley and Rose were driving the cement truck. That's
yeah. Yeah, I love that. So where he knocks that police car, it's like, man, you see this? Like, don't worry about it. I know that guy. He's a jerk. I love that. Yeah. I love that. I've got one.
Go.
So $35 that won the world charges for admission.
Yeah.
Right. In today's world's total is $65.
$30 over the course of
$35 back then is now $65 now.
Wow.
I know, right? That's some crazy right there.
It was crazy. It was definitely crazy. Yeah. And okay, so also the SWAT team the SWAT team makes the same hut noise that they do in the John Landis's earlier movie, The Blues Brothers. I cannot wait to re-review that. You're gonna love this movie, The Blues Brothers. I'll tell you straight up.
I did actually find something about the script in this book.
Go for it.
I can't find it now.
Also, did you know the fight? You know the scene where the firefighter is telling Flynn that Uncle Phil's been shot. Uncle Phil, it's not Fresh Prince. Sorry, my mistake. I admit. All right, Uncle Phil. Sorry, Uncle Dave has been shot.
It's Uncle Dave.
Yeah. Did you know who that fireman was played by? You won't believe this. The late great director John Singleton, who directed Boys in the Hood. He directed Shaft, and he directed
Shaft. Wow.
Where Samuel Jackson's Shaft.
Shaft.
And then you also had direct Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, one of the best Fast and Furious films. But it was.
It was at its time, yeah.
Right, I found it.
Go.
In a 2005 interview, John Landis claimed that Eddie Murphy worked against the comedy of the film by deliberately not being funny.
Yeah.
Landis knew the script wasn't very good, but he figured that Murphy could save it with his comedic routine. However, Murphy felt that his Axel Foley character was an adult now,
yeah,
and played him much more seriously, deliberately sidestepping around the comedy. Landis said that the film was a very strange experience and an odd movie. Yeah, well, it goes for it, doesn't it? I mean, the first one, he was 23.
Yeah.
I mean, young adult.
Yeah.
Full of fire, full of youth, full of beans, really.
Disturbing the peace and getting thrown out of a window.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Just been thrown out of the window. You know, the second one, he's a bit older, but he's in his mid-20s. Still got some fire in him. Still got that youth in him, the humour. Still got that in him. But in this one, man, come on, he's not young adult anymore.
No.
He's 33 years old. He's not going to be that. Hey, he's not going to be that fast talking guy anymore.
Yeah, there's another thing in part 2.
And his boss has just been shot.
Yeah.
He's been murdered. He's been killed right in front of him. Come on, the man is out for revenge. I mean, I have to disagree with this guy. I mean, but the thing is, at the same time, the statement an odd movie. It was an odd movie because the theme song, the
Axel left.
Yeah, the soundtrack was quite comedic.
Yeah, it was a bit, yeah.
The overall theme, the mood to Axel wasn't really comedy. He was very serious in this one, which I get it. You know, if your boss has been shot, who was like your father figure,
yeah,
you're not going to be all, you know, you're not going to be like that.
Or jokey-fied.
Yeah, you're not going to be like
that. Yeah,
that.
he's not going to be that, is it? Because nobody is going to want to be
So I can see why Eddie played him that way.
Yeah, it's true, because I could kind of sense that, because if you notice one more thing in part 3, which he doesn't do in what he does in part 1 and part 2, he doesn't con anything. In part 1 he cons the hotel room, part 2 he cons the big mansion. He doesn't con anything this time round. He goes straight to the hotel room.
He goes straight to the hotel
room.
Yeah,
yeah, he does, he does. And okay, so going on
He's playing by the book in this one a bit.
Surprisingly. I think he found the book.
Just a little bit.
I think he found the book, had a quick glance and goes, right, I'll put it away now.
Yeah, just like, that'll do for me.
Yeah. Okay, one more thing. Okay, so going on to favourite scenes now. What was your favourite scene? Surprisingly, even though this wasn't the best one in the series.
Okay, I'll try my best here. One of my favourite, for cameo appearances, George Lucas, that was a favourite scene of mine, because obviously, you know, it's George Lucas and you're like, hey, it's George. This is very difficult. I mean, I'm struggling here. I'm really struggling to come up with a favourite scene.
Okay. My only favourite scene is when we get to see Surge again.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I love seeing Surge for one more time.
That's just unveiled my favourite scene, where the old Axel kind of comes out, where him and Billy goes to the dinner.
Yeah. And
to the award ceremony, and he's like, "Don't do it, Axel. Don't. No. It's like, bravo! And he's like, Axel.
And he goes and when he runs and hides behind
the plant, and he's like that. He gets the leaf of the plant. He's like, just looking behind it, and he's like, everybody, Alice the ball, everybody, come on.
Yeah, then when he grabs him and goes, go on, smile. Let's give him the last few smiles.
This is gonna be the last smile you ever take. And he's and then what does he say about it? He's like, well, what's up, Foley? And then he says something about it.
Mad at me for shooting your boyfriend.
Yeah. And then he hits him, doesn't he? And then you think, damn, that was it. I think that was my.
That was a good.
That was a great scene.
It was that other scene where he goes, and then he smacks him right in the stomach.
Yeah.
And goes bang across his face.
Yeah, it was great.
That was a good bit. And then what was even funny, the way Rosewood jumps onto the stage and he just grabs them all and they all fall off the stage at the exact same time. And when Flint's ringing him up the next day, he goes, You and Billy disturbing the peace.
It's like, why am I not surprised?
He goes, alright, let me see. Who do I know down there? He goes,
It's like, don't mess with me, Flint.
He goes, get down here and let us out. He goes, alright, fine, I'm coming down. He goes, I'm coming down, pick up. Axel, do one more thing. He goes, what? Don't take any showers. And then he's like, Foley's like, then Billy's in the, he's like, I'm all washed up, I'm dead in the water.
That's funny. He's
I
like,
really like that office.
he's like, yeah, I'm all washed up. And he looks up and he's like, dead in the water. I really like that office. He's like, come on, man. We can get out of this.
And then the other scene where, what's his name, when they go back, and then that fist fight between Foley and DeWald was quite good.
It was.
Foley's been shot in the arm, but he's still holding up his own. But what then, when he's like smacking him and everything, and he's fighting dirty this time round. Have you noticed? Foley fights a bit dirty this time round. He's like, there's the crotch shots, there's the elbows to the face, he's bled him up quite bad, and then
it's violent, this film.
And then when he got one of my favourite scenes. Sorry, one that was a bit funny. When DeWald shoots Foley in the leg, and he's put his knees together, and he's still firing that gun quite funny. I don't know what it is. I always laughed at that one particular scene when he's like, when he gets shot in the leg, he's like, ah! And he's like firing the machine gun at him. And then DeWald, the way he flies into that ride, and he just drops there. And then you find out afterwards, after Sanderson gets shot, you keep wondering who shot Sanderson. And then you find out at the end, it was the Secret Service agent, Steve Fulbright. He was in on it all along. Because you could tell right away he was in on it, because the scene where Foley's chasing DeWald in that car, and then they block him for no reason.
Off, yeah.
It's like, this guy was in on it all along. And that's one thing. And then the other scene was when he goes, oh, I've got Sanderson handcuffed outside, but Sanderson's dead. Someone just shot him. It was you who shot him. And then he's like, so long, Foley. He's about to kill him, and Flint walks in there. Flint kind of saves his life to distract him.
He does.
And then he shoots him, and then the bullet goes and hits him in the eye. He's like, yeah, okay. He's like, I wonder what time the park opens. And they'll start laughing. And the next day, Uncle Dave gives this, I got it right this time. Uncle Dave.
Not Uncle.
Phil, yeah. Classic character there, Uncle Phil. You got to admit, Philip Banks, played by James Avery.
Amazing.
Yeah. And 6 foot. You know, he was like 6'4" in real life. He was.
A big guy.
He was the way Will described him. Big man, short fuse, bad combination.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't get on the wrong side of him.
Definitely. And then, so then when he says that, then the scene where he gives him the brand new character at the end of Wonderworld, Axel Fox. That was quite funny. I mean, that girl in it was quite beautiful, Teresa Randall.
Oh, yeah.
Teresa Randall, yeah. She was, to me, she was mainly famous for playing Martin Lawrence's wife in all the Bad Boys movies.
Yes, now I'm thinking about that. Yes, she was, wasn't she? I mean, I was kind of, I found myself kind of, when there's another great scene of the film was when Axel dresses up as Okie Dokie.
Yeah, that was so funny.
It's like, do the Okie Dokie dance. And he does it, and he's like, that's not how he dances. This is how he dances. So, naked, I'm Okie Dokie, and I'll dance how I wish. It's like, and then he punches him, doesn't he?
And the stomach quite hard.
It's like, you little...
He's like, oh, you little mother lover.
And then he pushes him into the fountain. And then his little brother is like laughing his head off. He's like, Mom! It's grandma, isn't it? Grandma! Okie Dokie just pushed me into the water. And you just see the grandma like this, like,
I'm coming to get you.
And she just walks over.
Yeah, that little kid was quite sweet when he runs up and hugs him.
Yeah.
The way he's talking is, hey, nice little kid, how you doing, and all that stuff. It was kind of sweet how he says that.
Funny how he runs off from the grandma though, doesn't he?
Yeah, the guy just legs it. But that kid was quite laughing quite hard when he did that.
Oh man, that was so funny, man.
Yeah, it was funny,
his brother seemed a bit of a little
trouble,
yes,
spoiled one.
Yeah, yes.
So okay, so score out of 10, what would you give it?
Oh, is that the end?
Well, did you have another scene you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, okay, so they're talking about a fourth one, aren't they? They're talking about a fourth film.
Yeah.
Now, for me, right, I really think that they need to think about this because according to this, it is actually in the pipeline now. This is coming from the 28th of April this year. Beverly Hills Cop 4 on Netflix. What we know so far.
I don't know. I think in a way it could have been. I don't know. They have to throw it on the big screen, because if the first two had a big screen appearance, then they have to give the next one a big screen appearance as well.
But the thing, so it says here, right? The long-awaited fourth instalment of the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. I don't know about long-awaited, because I don't think anyone's been really waiting for this.
No.
Is now in pre-production. Okay, so it's at Netflix. So Beverly Hills Cop 4 is an upcoming Netflix original comedy film and the fourth instalment of the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. Netflix was first announced to receive the movie back in November 2019. Obviously, to 2020.
Yeah.
Things didn't come to fruition. After years of delays, rewrites, and moving to different studios in 2019, it was confirmed that the long-awaited sequel will be produced by Netflix. Its last major delay was back in 2015, when Paramount yanked the movie from its supposed 2016 release. So we should have got this a lot sooner. Again, it's probably budget issues and other problems as well.
Yeah.
Jerry Bruckheimer films.
Bruckheimer.
Films in the studio behind the production of Beverly Hills Cop 4, which will be directed by Australian. So they've got everything together. Australian director Mark Malloy, known for Apple at Work and The Underdogs. Do you know those films?
Underdogs. I've heard of Underdogs. Yeah.
That's after Adil El Albi and Bilal Fallah departed the project in April 2022.
Okay.
Jerry Bruckheimer, Melissa Reed and Eddie Murphy served as producers on the movie. So this is what they're saying. What they know so far about the fourth film. Right. So at the time of publishing, there is little to no detail about the plot of Beverly Hills Cop 4, but this is what they kind of know. All we know is that the return of Beverly Hills Cop will see the return of Axel Foley, obviously. Given it's been nearly 30 years since the release of Beverly Hills Cop 3, we may see a retired Foley returning to the LAPD, or we may see Foley as the police commissioner of the LAPD. Which one do you think would be the best idea?
I think the retirement one.
Yeah, I think you're right, because but if he is retired,
they don't really need him, do they?
It's just that. Where's he going to go from there? What's he going to do?
Still probably doing what he does. Go deep undercover, as you mentioned, and always going back where he's never required. I
think he could have a son.
Yeah.
Who could be in the police force and who he tries to mentor from time to time. But again, I don't know where they're going to go with this. I don't know what they're going to do. Is it going to be more comedy, more action, or more action, more comedy? Is it going to be more serious? I don't know. I mean, what do you do with it? It's already in pre-production.
Did you know there was a TV series of Beverly Hills Cop, and they did have a son character called Aaron Foley, who was the son of Axel Foley.
Okay.
And but it didn't last very long, the series. Eddie Murphy turns up in it for a little bit, but it wasn't as long as it was required.
Yeah, I mean, right, okay, so...
I think in a way, I don't know, I think if they do it, but they need to make it so much better. They have to have a fresh new idea, not like, oh, it's another Beverly Hills Cop movie. It's Eddie Murphy, because it's Eddie Murphy. I mean, Eddie Murphy's a legend anyway. Don't get me wrong.
He's done a lot for the film industry. He's done a lot for the black community of acting. He's done a lot for many things. He's I mean, the guy is a big memory in my childhood and in yours. He's been around for decades. But I mean, obviously it's too late now. He's already done it. It's been in pre-production since early 2022 this year. But again, I think the greatest plan for me, hopefully they've done this, because I can't really see him being in the police unless he's a commissioner.
Yeah. Like Todd.
Yeah, like Todd.
Todd would have been a commissioner if he hadn't been killed.
And he could, and in his office, he's got a picture of him and Todd together.
Yeah.
As if saying, you know, I've made it now, and this is for you, Inspector Todd. But again, you know, where will they go with the story? What, I mean, is Judge Rhino going to be in there?
They have to bring him back.
They've got to bring all of them.
They've got to bring him back, Taggart back, and Bogomil.
Yeah,
and Bogomil's quite old now.
Yeah, he was about 40 odd when in the first one.
I think so. And then he was like a little bit older in the second one, and obviously you don't hear about him in the third one either.
So he could be the commissioner. He could team up with Taggart and Bogomil and Rosewood for one last time, and they could go on some, I don't know, fishing trips together like we see, but then something comes up where they go, what do you think, guys?
We have an emergency.
Do you think we should? It's like, I think we're a bit too old for that now, actually. It's like, oh, man, I'm not old yet. It's like, I still got a lot in me. And then you just see Taggart going, oh, man, I wish I never came back.
Yeah, here's my medical insurance going out the toilet again.
Yeah, he could actually say that. But, you know, it would be good to see it. It would be good to see them all reprise their roles. But again, you know, when it does come out, I'm gonna watch it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would definitely go watch it because I would love to see. I would love to see a Beverly Hills Cop flick on the big screen. I never got to see the first three on the big screen.
Yeah, I did.
So it was nice to actually see Top Gun on the big screen. A Top Gun movie. Unfortunately, it wasn't the original Top Gun, but it was great to see the sequel.
Yeah.
So okay, and yeah, but if they do a part 4, let's just hope it's the part 3. It's what part 3 should have been.
Yeah. So what do you think of that idea? Like, he should be commissioner, or?
I think commissioner in a way. Yeah, he still looks the part. He looks like because Eddie Murphy doesn't look like he ages very well.
It still looks good, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, definitely he does. But yeah, well, let's just hope if they do it, then make sure that it's, like I say, it's a lot better than the previous Beverly Hills Cop. So okay, so Beverly Hills Cop 3 on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you? Sorry, score of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
5.8.
I'd just give it a 5.
Oh, yours is lower than mine this time.
I'll say just a 5 this time.
Right, okay.
Like I say, it lacked a lot. It wasn't like the first two.
No, it wasn't. It lacked a lot of flair. It lacked a lot of. Again, the most disappointing thing about this film, they shouldn't have killed Todd off.
And they should have brought back in the other characters, or mentioned the other characters.
They should have injured Todd, and Foley wouldn't have lost his flair, he wouldn't have lost his fire, he wouldn't have lost his comedy side. He could have visited Todd in the hospitals time to time, and they could have had the old banter, and then Todd would have gone, okay, I'm going to give you some advice here, listen up. And then you could have seen him go, okay, looked at him like a dad. But that would have been great, but obviously they just killed him off.
Yeah.
And then Axel just turns out to be this rageful, monstrous kind of dude who just wants to...
And he swears way more this time around than he did in the first two.
Yeah, because he's a lot more peeved off in this one.
Yeah, of course he is, Yeah.
He's a lot more grouchy in this as well, isn't he? He's just...
Yeah, definitely.
You know... Yeah, I mean, 5.8.
I'm just going to give it a 5. It's one of those sequels that could have been better, but it lacked a lot of potential.
There was too many I mean, if you look at it, there was too much messing about in the script.
I believe so, yeah.
There was too much budget issues, there was too much planning going wrong, and then this script was definitely just rushed and then just thrown into it, like going, yeah, here you go, just do what you can with it, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what it felt like to me.
It did. It felt the same way to me as well, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Well, Aidan, everyone, that's all the time we have for this week's podcast. Don't forget to tune in to next week's when we're going to finally get on with the standalone martial arts movie that introduced the world to the martial art of Kempo Karate, and it's the movie Perfect Weapon starring Jeff Speakman. You have to watch it. You saw the trailer and you were blown away with it.
Oh, it looked good.
Yeah, it was like proper, it was lethal, I would say. I've got some good stories about that as well. You're going to be blown away with all the stories too. So, Aidan, always a pleasure to work with you, bro. And, alright, go on, give the laugh before we leave. And, yeah, so please don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. And appreciate everybody for all your support and everything. And just if you made it to the end, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and click subscribe while you're at it as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah. And don't forget, the 80s rocked.
They do rock.
Yeah.
What this guy said.
What this guy agreed with. Right. This is Addy.
And this is Aiden.
Out.